morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. Today is September 26th, 2023. Bender, what do you think about the 26th of September?
Ask me at the end of the day. I mean, I think it's a Wednesday, but for the rest of it, you'll have to
It's not a
ask me at the end of the day. No,
Today's
it's not. It's Tuesday.
Jesus, Bender.
It's
We're
Tuesday.
going to start it off like this? This is what we're doing?
Well, see, you didn't tell me yesterday. Like normally you go into this whole, you know what today is, you know what that means, and you didn't do that. So
yeah,
I blame you.
So as was discussed, I think in the show yesterday, we got some seeking and destroying. You got your move at the end of the day to the London session highs. We got some activity and a lot of range amongst the chop. Overnight, we sold down like bloody bandits right about to where we kind of spent a good amount of time yesterday and kind of below that area and through here now. So this will definitely be an interesting day as far as will they, won't they. A couple of little things that I found interesting in the world. Um, did you know that Yelp, in an effort to, make things matter, is now putting badges or alerts on certain reviewers, certain companies' webpage if they are paying for reviews? They are shaming them.
That's good.
That's good. I agree.
That's good.
I definitely agree. I agree. That's good. So maybe when you show up to the restaurant, you're thinking you're going to get good food and you get some slop on a plate. It's like maybe this will help with all that. Another thing that's a little bit interesting, Bender. Did you know that due to gravity abnormalities, okay, gravity abnormalities, objects in southern Illinois weigh more than they do in central Indiana?
I did not.
I did not know that either. I did not. I was a little bit like, that seems kind of interesting. All right. Now let's get into some of this market activity. Ford is basically saying that we are pausing our battery plant for reasons that are all curious. The ones that they kind of gave, it's like was that we need to make sure that we can actually, pull this off and make money. That's the reason that they gave. There's thoughts as far as them working with China being a problem. Thoughts that the strike is having, potentially an issue. Lots of thoughts, but the reality is they're hitting pause on their $3.5 billion electric battery facility. It's kind of, is that like a white flag waving saying we can't play?
I mean, if they're not waving that flag, like at this point, it seems like if they haven't waved it already, like it's inevitable, but it's also like, why are you waiting so long?
Why are you waiting so long? Yeah. Dollars pulled back here a little bit. Something I was looking at, it's like depending on the time frame you're looking at, you can see the makings of a breakdown on a 30-minute. But it's coming down into support. And what's interesting about it, it broke down and the market kind of broke down with it. So we got, another push lower with the dollar peeling back. So, it seems to matter only when it matters, the dollar and how it wants to move and play. I think you touched on that a couple of times, and more it shows its head as far as, okay, so I guess the dollar is an issue now and not here. A couple of things that I'm curious about to see how the day develops. We saw closing of 175 puts on Apple. That's why I closed out the little short position I was trying to put on Apple towards the end of the day yesterday. We saw some of those 175 puts come on the bid. We also saw a very strong line come into Microsoft 317.50s, and it got a nice pop and run off of those. That was a $1 million weekly line, million plus weekly line on Microsoft. So really curious to see if that sticks on, and kind of how the price action moves around that. Setting the table as far as additional data for the day. We had building permits come out. They were not what was expected, so we got a little dip in the dollar off of that. And here in the next couple of minutes, we get house price index, which should be a mover for the dollar, and some composite data coming through for the S&P, which will be interesting. At the top of the hour, 30 minutes after open, We get consumer confidence, new home sales. We get that Richmond Manufacturing Index. These are things that, just depending, we could get market moves off of them. The dollar is very sensitive right now. It is at highs. So we'll see how that kind of reacts. It's like bad data is not good for the dollar, but if the dollar remains, as Charlie has once said to me before, the best turd in the bowl, well, there you have it. There you have it. The best turd in the bowl shall win. So the dollar strength is in a lot of ways based on global weakness. I think we can look at Japan. I think we can look at China also being part of the problem. Euro is an interesting bag, but that's a story for a different day. With this being said, Bender, what do you have for us, sir, on these charts?
Well, I was going to give you a did you know?
Did I know? Oh, I get to do it. I'll play. I'll play.
Did you know that there were I think it's pronounced Taiwa, maybe Taiga, I don't know, Indians in the mid to late 1600s. The children carried around, they were given a banana, or no, it wasn't a banana. It was a corn on the cob that was supposed to protect them from evil. And when children lost a tooth, the ritual was to throw it at the sun, but not too hard because they don't want to damage the sun because it powers all of life.
That's right.
My daughter was going through, she was doing this report while we were driving to her lesson yesterday. For those that don't know, she rides horses. We were going to a sorting lesson, but she was reading this stuff out loud, and I'm like, some of the crazy stuff that came before us. It's like, throw your tooth at the sun, but not too hard because you don't want to damage it. I'm like, to me, that sounds a little crazy, but at the same time, it's like, could you imagine if you were living in a time where people cared about everything that much, right? These are the same people that are like, they're probably watching every footstep to make sure they don't step on an ant.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Kind of crazy.
I think it's interesting that they had that much respect for things that they didn't necessarily, they understood the power of the sun. And so there was ultimate respect for it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's
Kinda
really,
crazy.
really neat. And maybe there's a lesson somewhere in there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we have to go that far, but we probably could be somewhere in between where we are now and that. Anyway, and if you don't need weapons, just a corn on the cob. You don't mess with somebody carrying corn on the cob, because apparently that will defend you from all things. Okay, so let's take a look at these charts. Hells, I know we were talking about this morning. I said, here's where the stops are sitting. They'll probably come down and take that, which they did, right? It's on the 3-minute. Here's your London session low down here at 43.44. We'll take a look here, a couple different views. First thing I want to start with is right here. We're going to go to, let's look, 8 hour, and just kind of recap some of the things that we were talking about late last week and yesterday. Trading down into this fair value gap, and we have the weekly volume imbalance down here as well. Let's go to the daily so we can see a little bit better. Okay. So between these two blue lines is that weekly volume imbalance, right? And you can see this candle, this fair value gap in here. So we have now taken out everything that occurred up here, and we are into that daily candle that broke us out above all of this in here, right? This was that candle. We're trading down into it. We get to the bottom of that, 43.31 half, right? And then we're into that weekly volume imbalance. We have that trend line just below right here. That's this this gray line right here. So that's your trend line. That weekly volume imbalance that's in there. This is also 2 deviations off of this leg right here. It comes in at 43.12.25. So again, I expect support to come in this area in here. Now that could be another 50 points down, right? Remains to be seen. But this is kind of the zone that I'm kind of looking for that support to come into play. Now, if we start to zoom in a little bit, and I'm gonna move back over to this chart. 15-minute. There we go. Okay, so here's your London session low right down here. We have yesterday's low, 43.38.25, and yesterday's high, 43.83.25. And when I'm looking at this, get rid of this guy right here. When I'm looking at this, it's like, okay, if it decides to go hunt lower, you've got that London session low right there. So if see this 15-minute fair value gap that's sitting in here, highlight that. There. So, it could trade right down into here and then decide to start pushing up. But really, you can see where this leg right here started, came back up, didn't quite take that out. So this level right here, near term, there's liquidity, there's stops resting just above that, 43.67. So if it starts pushing up, I would look for that to get taken and then head on a swivel if it does, right? This is where I would be looking, kind of that first level where I'd be looking for a reaction. Does it push through with force and then pull back into a fair value gap and push back above? If it does, then I'd be looking up here, 43.83 half. Not that it gets it all at once. You can see there's probably some speed bumps in here along the way, but if it pushes through, pulls back, leaves a fair value gap above that it trades into, and that becomes resistance, then I would be looking down here to these London session lows and ultimately back down to yesterday's low, 43.38.25. So again, use this level as that kind of tip of the hat. Same thing down here with the London session low. If it comes down, it takes that out. You're looking for the same sort of thing. Either it's going to do it with some force, pull back into a fair value gap and give you an opportunity short, or it's going to come down, reclaim it, leave a fair value gap behind that it pulls back into to trade back up here. Kind of depends on which of these two gets taken first. And one of them gets taken, then I'm looking for that market structure shift on the shorter time frames. And that, I don't think I have too much more. That's the setup. We've got those levels that we're looking for to see what the kind of reaction we get. That's about all I got.
Yeah, no, you basically have us right in the middle. Right on. Right on. Could be an interesting day. No, for the sake of range, let's hope we do both. All right. Sonny, what you got, bud?
Morning, everyone. So Moody's came out yesterday that if the spending bill is not passed, they're going to have to lower the rating for US from AAA to one notch lower. So Moody's is the only one that still has a AAA rating for the US. Fitch and S&P Global already downgraded it a month or so ago, and we did see some downward movement from that. USD and yen pushed 149 yesterday, so I did buy a bunch of it. actual yen, actually. Uh, so the Japanese government, they're going to look to intervene if it crosses 150 level. Um, and so we could see some downward movement in the Dixie because of that. Lagarde, the ECB president Lagarde, so she made some comments yesterday that the recent economic indicators point to further weakness in activity in the third quarter. She said, while the headline inflation has come down, the domestic price pressures remain strong. So they are pushing their inflation targets to be reached by end of 2025 now. Everybody was, hey, 2024, we should be meeting our goals. Now it's end of 2025. Uh, Goldman Sachs has mentioned that there's an increased interest in tax loss harvesting, roughly about $925 billion of mutual funds report the year and end of October. So they may be looking to book some gains. They put out a chart also as to when all this has happened, how much money was sold and stuff like that. So I'll post that in the Roadhouse when I get around to it today. EU has officially started a probe into the subsidies for the Chinese automakers, so Neo, XPEV, things like that. Originally, last week when I had mentioned that, they were saying, hey, this is going to be positive for Tesla. Now they're saying, well, it may not be because it's going to lead to higher import taxes on all the EVs coming into Europe from outside. American Airlines, they reduced their guidance again. They're reiterating it, same as with Spirit Airlines, because of elevated fuel prices. Gambling stocks. So DraftKings got an upgrade. Penn, CZR, they're getting upgrade. They said these are appealing gambling sector. Usually happens when there's more layoffs coming around the holiday time, and the sports season open up. People gamble more when they're just sitting at home. So this one makes sense. Costco has the ER after hours today. There is some rumor that they may be looking to increase the membership fee. So if that happens, Costco will definitely set a tone for the rest of the ERs. They're going to start up, especially in the retail sector, in the next couple of weeks. Upgrades, downgrades, DKNG, Open, Redfin, Target, Nike, Wing. Downgrades, WPC, CSL. Not much on the downgrade side. Events, we have Pfizer at the Cantor Global Healthcare Conference. So there's a bunch of them there, actually. NNOX. So this one is a mover, actually. The NNOX, usually watch flow for that. If it makes a nice move. Verizon and TMUS are also at a conference. SPX, so largest gamma 4330, 4325, 4350. So 4300 yesterday was a nice put wall. That was a nice support. That has disappeared today. So I'll keep an eye on the 4300 on SPX. We did open gamma negative, but more balanced than it was yesterday at minus 2.9. And on the dark pool side, we got a nice dark pool into Meta at 300.83, Microsoft 317.54, and yeah, that's about it. I did post all the dark pools in my room, so if you want to go check it out, I changed the template so it gives you all the sector breakdown of what's coming into each sector. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, son.
Sonny.
Catch up, Hells. Keep up. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Stonks. What you got for us, Stonks? And
What's up?
we did have a question in chat this morning as far as wanting to see a Tesla chart either on the daily or weekly, I believe, to kind of give an idea of where she's at, where she could go.
Let's do it.
After you go through yours, let's go ahead and cut into that a little bit.
All right. I'm ready. Let's go. Son, you just let me know if you would like me to throw teeth at you. Sounds weird, but hey, if people do it, I'm on board. All right. Here we go.
Wrong son.
Damn. My bad.
Yeah.
All right. Here we got the NASDAQ here. So let's talk through this. I am looking at the daily here. and was looking to see if this red candle was going to work as an bullish order block, a bull who potentially wanted to get in at lower prices followed by a rip up. So I've drawn fibs based on this wick and would be focusing mainly on this midpoint here, which we had 1, 2, 3 daily candles close above, and now we're operating below. So we're going to see how we close today, see if we can close above this 14,859.75. And we've got two things in between these candles. We have the new week opening gap and this volume imbalance there. And then if we jump over to the weekly, this red candle gave us room. We may even have room down to here. We'll update that. And we've got a little volume imbalance there above on the daily as well. This body to that one. And so kind of some upside targets. If we lose this, then potentially we've got some equal lows here below and this gap down that way on the NASDAQ. If we get going to the downside, if we drill down, look, we just took these lows here. We had equal lows, kind of similar to Bender showing on the ES. So next, now we've got some equal lows below there if we need to go get them.
How far down is that on the NQ from where we are now?
Those are, let's see, 30 down.
Okay.
About, yeah. Yeah, actually 40 if we're at 14,828, and that's down at 14,792. So yeah, that's 40. And then we've got these equal highs, and then we get into the big gap above. If we can pop back over this order block midpoint line, which we can see it's been a pretty key level. So be interested to see if we can get back over that. We jump over to the Russell. I've been using the continuous contract again on this one. Let's see. So we've got, similarly, we've got Russell daily candles closing above this level, 88.1. So we want to see that continue. If we lose, then below we've got this guy, bunch of stops sitting down there, and then potentially down through there.
And we did, just because you're talking about the Russell, we did get some phantom prints on IWM, which at the time were below. I'm not sure where they are now. 174.96 phantom pitter patter. Not a lot of activity, just there.
There you go. So those would be our downside levels to keep an eye on. Maybe we're working on this little falling channel here, which breakout could be bullish. We've got above this, if we jump over to the weekly, similarly, this weekly candle would all be unbalanced price action over there on the Russell, which would give a target up through 1854.1. And then we've got this box in the middle that's a volume imbalance that was, let's see, that was a weekly, which is going to be this low to that high right there. So we got some stuff above to keep an eye out on for the Rusty. Let's see, we can jump over to Apple. The 4 hour, we kind of looked at this one yesterday. These levels still in play. Let's see, so above, want to see 177.4 pop and hold, and was going to use this line 174.93 as the put trigger. Then below we've got the big one, 173.57 over there on Apple. The other one was going to be Meta. They keep hitting these dark pools in this 300 area, potentially working on a falling setup. Based on the fact that we've sold off here pre-market, I would adjust the put trigger. It was originally going to be this dark pool from last night up at 300.83. There's a lot of money sitting there now. So adjusting the put trigger, I would throw something in right around here. Nice round number, 298.15. So we can see the importance there. Wicks, candle bodies, rejection, wicks. So I think this would be a good level, and we'll see if this falling wedge has to keep falling. If we break below 298.15, we've got some stuff. This is another important dark pool down there. 294.24 for Tesla. Let's take a look at Tesla. Let's see. I was charting that one up over here a bit. All right. So these fibs are drawn off this run, and you can see bulls stepped in at the 618. So we could see if that'll be bullish if that's going to hold.
What number is that on your chart? The 618.
That's going to be this level right here, 237.90, 237.95. So that we've got fibs drawn from this low to this high here, and you can see almost to the penny they came in on that retracement there on Tesla. The other interesting piece, if we look back, let's see, you could tell this is kind of a chop zone for Tesla, so just be kind of careful. I mean, you look, we had a few days here stuck in this range, and then we had a few days here stuck in this range, and now we're kind of bouncing back into it. So, be using flow, finding shorter time frame patterns to trade, just because we can see this is kind of whipsaw action. If you were, swinging calls or puts through all this, especially weeklies, you're just going to get faded. So I would just be aware, kind of, if you can keep these key levels in mind. You got 237.90 below, 245.80 above, and then we can call levels as we see them come through. That's all I got.
All right, very good. So with Tesla Flow, we haven't seen a lot of bearish activity, have we? We've seen some weekly, momentum lines, but nothing abnormal.
Agreed.
Okay, just want to make sure on that. My eyes are seeing the same. All right, that's all I got. You guys have anything else you want to add?
I'm good.
Nope.
No, nothing
Nope.
from me. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks, fellas. Really appreciate it. We have about 12 minutes till open. 12 minutes until open. So have a good one. See you guys soon.
See you soon.